you mentioned, if I heard you correctly, she's 3 weeks out, right? So we're still in that period where things are evolving rather quickly. That ability to engage in rehab interventions might change in a short period of time.
Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Nick Halsey with Motus Nova. I'm a licensed neurophysical therapist and neuroscientist helping brain injury survivors understand how to make functional gains after their injury. I hope this video helps you in your recovery.
Yes, thank you for the explanation. More or less, I heard the concept of motus to what you explained to Jean, but our case is different. It's about my mother who has a brain hemorrhage for 2 weeks ago and doesn't have so much response and not so much. There is a little movement in her hand and legs, but not so much. To grab something, grab something and cannot. Is it any?
It's not comprehend anything.
Who cannot comprehend. She can listen, but cannot comprehend to respond. What is it? What do you think about? Can you help anything in your tools and your concept, or it's too early?
Yeah. Yeah, no, Parvis, thank you for that. And I think, like every other time, let me do my best to provide an objective answer based on the science. So I will always back up to the clinical trials and the data we have. And when we look back to those, clinical trials are done with a variety of constraints. They're supposed to be these sterile things that we can kind of get to causation. And one of the things that allows us to do this is we have things called inclusion and exclusion criteria. And inclusion criteria are basically characteristics about individuals that we want to study. For instance, if they've had a stroke, whether that's an ischemic stroke or hemorrhagic stroke, those two things are both included. Now, on the other side of things, there are potentially what are called confounding factors. And these are things that can complicate the studies. And in the cases of the clinical trials that have been run, one of those sort of exclusion criteria was in fact the ability to have the cognitive abilities to basically engage in an activity. And now this is, and so that's just the straight up answer about that. So it was one of the exclusion criteria. Now, that being said, why is that important? It's not because we just didn't care about those people. We of course cared about those people. But one of the reasons why that was in the inclusion criteria was because individuals in that case, it's very, very hard for them to engage in an intense rehab program. And if you're not able to engage in something, we're not sure if we're actually activating the neurons like we need to cause those positive changes. So that's going to be my objective answer about this in terms of it might be too early if he's not able to participate. Mm-hmm. I will put a period by that, but then let's think about maybe next steps. Next steps are, well, there might be a time when that could change, when she's able to be more participatory and engaged in a rehab intervention.
Hey, if you're finding this video helpful, please hit like and subscribe to help other brain injury survivors learn how Motus Nova is changing neuro-rehab.
Now, the other side of this is that, well, maybe we can try to help encourage that participation. Maybe she hasn't been provided the adequate sort of environment or the adequate tools to help her do that. Now, the answer to both of those questions is I don't know where both of those paths would be. And I don't know what's been done so far. And so it's going to be hard for me to kind of suggest or speculate about whether or not this tool could help her engage. With individuals we worked with in the past that have, let's say, some cognitive challenges, whether or not they have difficulty with engagement or vice versa, we've been able to modify things to make sure that it's easier to participate. And in fact, actually, because it is kind of a virtual environment, it can be fairly captivating. And so it might actually help accentuate that engagement. So it could be a tool that could help in that process. But because I don't have any hard evidence on this, I'm venturing into the realm of speculation at this point. So that's going to be a very, very cautious answer on that side.
I understand. Okay, I understand. But maybe it's best that you could wait a little more, yes, and see how how she develops cognitive, and so we decide.
Yes, yeah, and I think this could be a joint decision, and I think I say this to everyone, and don't feel like this is the last time that we can chat, right? I would
No.
very much welcome you to come back on, and we can certainly chat as she progresses, right? The other
Thank you.
really encouraging thing is that you mentioned, if I heard you correctly, she's 3 weeks out, right? So we're still in that period where things are evolving rather quickly. That ability to engage in rehab interventions might change in a short period of time. And the thing I will encourage you to do is try to be as present as you can to test, see what's happening, see if you can get her to follow one-step command, two-step command, these sort of things. And then we can kind of try to push forward while we have this really, really receptive brain. And then as soon as we get to that point where, hey, we've hit a critical threshold where we think she can engage in something, let's pull the trigger and then we can see, right? At that point, we can sort of do a trial run to see if it's a good option for you guys. And in that case, like I said, I'm happy with any sort of these outcomes. If you try it and it works, great. If you try it and it doesn't work for her, that's fine too. It's just we try to find these tools that are helpful to people. And, you know, because we don't know from the science whether or not it's going to help every single person, we kind of have to see and get an objective reality on that progress. So, but that would be my recommendation for the time.
I understand. Thank you very much. So, okay, we give her 10 more days or 2 weeks and see where she's standing.
Yeah.
And then
please come back. I'd love to chat with you again.
Yes. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Of course. Okay. Thanks, Parvez. I appreciate your time. And also I look forward to seeing from you. And I'm sending good thoughts and sending encouragement to you guys to hopefully I'll be able to work with you guys going forward.
Thanks for watching this video. If you have questions or would like to speak with me about how you can make functional gains from home, call or text me at 404-939-3476 or visit motusnova.com/contact.